Welcome to this webinar. So you're here today because you find email marketing a challenge. Well, over the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you that it doesn't have to be nearly as scary as you think. Now, if you're watching live, don't forget to ask questions as we go along. You can do that by popping them into the questions box, which is on your GoToWebinar panel on your screen. I'll answer as many as I can at the end. So email marketing today allows you to reach your customers wherever they are, including their mobile phone. And around 56% of emails are opened on a mobile device. Now, this is going to vary for different people, but you know, email on a mobile phone is just something that people have, and that's what they do. And reading this email on a mobile phone is going to be nigh on impossible. Plus, this email took Peter, who created it, so long to create that he didn't do that. He didn't send on a regular basis. And those are just a few reasons why you shouldn't be sending emails like that. Instead, what I recommend you do is to create a reusable master template that looks more like this. The design is much simpler, it's mobile responsive, so it'll look great on any device, and it doesn't need a massive amount of time and work up front. So you'll have to get that set in your email account, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. But once you've got a master template, you can set up emails really quickly, and you'll set that master template to match your branding and include things like your social media and your contact information that will remain consistent over your emails. Then when you're ready to create an email campaign, you'll just make a copy of it and add in the content you need to add. So using a master template is going to make it easier for you to get your email marketing out the door and looking great when you have lots of different hats to wear for your business. So let's move on from there. And before we talk about what to put in your emails, I just want to mention that not all of your emails should be promotions to sell your products or services. No one likes to be sold to all the time. You're going to want to have a variety of emails to keep your business top of mind. And with email marketing, what you're doing is you're building a relationship with your audience over time, and that encourages them to continue doing business with you. So that's why you'll want to include a mixture of time-based and informational emails. Time-based emails are when you have time-sensitive information like sales or promotions or events. And then informational emails focus on sharing information that helps you to connect with your readers. And this is where you can provide valuable content to support your products and services that keeps people in the know about what you do. So now you have a basis for getting started with email marketing. Let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to, first of all, look at the 7 essential elements that you need to design an effective email campaign. And then we'll jump into a live demo. So I'm going to go into my demo account, and I'm going to show you how to create your master template, that reusable template to help you save time. And lastly, we'll discuss how to write your emails to get readers to take action. And I'll show you how to use your reusable template and add in the content for your email campaign. So before we kick off, just a little bit about me. If you don't know me, my business is actually going to be 6 this year. Gosh, I can't believe it. Before that, I was head of marketing for the UK at Constant Contact, which is an email marketing company. And I use Constant Contact myself, so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. It was there that my love of small business started, and when I was made redundant in 2016, I decided that I wanted to help people like you in my way. So I'm taking my 20 years of marketing experience to help business owners find their inner marketer so that they can market themselves effectively. And I do this through one-to-one coaching and training and presenting like I'm doing today. Now, if you know me, you know I love my food. So I'm always really using food analogies, and I believe marketing is a lot like cooking. With a recipe, the right ingredients, a few basic tools and some practice, you can cook up your own marketing success. So in addition to working with businesses like yours, I'm also an accredited Constant Contact partner. That means I've taken exams for them to make sure that I know what I'm doing with email marketing. I'm a Small Business Britain champion and an advisor with Enterprise Nation, where I do training for the likes of Amazon and Vodafone. I'd love to send you my weekly newsletter, The Marketing Morsel, and you can see the link on the screen there. There are lots of benefits to joining the club, things like member-only webinars, a private Facebook group with exclusive content, and the ability to chat with me directly, and the opportunity to attend my forum, The Marketing Motivator. So head over to that link and sign up, and I'd love to see you join my list. Right, first of all, let's talk about the 7 essential elements that you need to design your email. First and foremost, what we want is consistency. You want a similar look and feel so that people won't be spending too much time in an email, and you'll be able to establish your brand right away. So let's define a master template. This is the template that you can create and reuse, always making a copy of the master to send out the email. The master would include items like the header information. So that's your from email address, the reply email address, the subject pre-header. You've got your logo and colors. You've got your image, and then the message body. Next, the call to action. This is the thing that you want people to do. And then your footer, things like information, your address, if you have a physical premises, your opening hours, your website, how people can contact you. You save time because your master template is a starting point, and you plug in the content that's specific to each email campaign. So that means changing the subject line and the pre-header text, adding a supporting image, your message body text, and a call to action in the copy of our master template. So that covers our master template, and I'll show you one later in a demo. But for many businesses, it can be challenging to know how to create and write an email content. So that's why today we'll be talking about how to create your email campaign beyond just the basics, and I'll show you how to add in your text and all the elements to make your emails great. So let's look more specifically at what we're going to cover today. So let's discuss the elements of the header in your email campaign. You may not think that the header plays an important role in design, but I'm including it here because it's the first thing that people are going to see in their inbox. It's your first and only chance to catch your readers' attention and get them to open that email. People make quick decisions in their inbox every day, so you want to use this element to your advantage. The from information is what displays first for your contact. So ideally, you'll use an email address that has got your business domain in it, and the from name will likely be your company name. So for me, the from email address is Minal at Marketing by Minal, and the from the display name is Marketing by Minal. So here you can see an example from Southside Cycling. They're using that, their from name is Southside Cycling, and the email address is bikes@southsidecycling.com. That information is easily recognizable to subscribers. Another example of why this information is important, here's an email in an inbox from Susan Grant. Now, who is Susan Grant? What would you do if you received this email? Do you want to just let me know in the questions? What would you do if you receive this email and you don't know who Susan Grant is? Share your answers in the question window. I'll just give you a little bit of time to think about what you would do. I've got a couple of people saying that they would ignore it, some people saying that they would bin it, send to junk. I may open, but generally discard, send to junk. So you can see that people are not really that bothered about opening an email from somebody that they don't know. And that's exactly why this information is so important. People open emails from senders that they know and trust. Now, Susan Grant may be a good from choice if people know who she is. However, if subscribers are more familiar with the business name, you should use that instead. So the next field is the reply to email address, and typically the from and the reply email address is the same. The key here is that someone is going to receive and monitor the email address for replies. The from and email reply addresses are two sections that will typically not change. So set them up in your first in your reusable master template, and you don't have to worry about changing that. That said, you will need to change the subject line and the pre-header text with each email campaign. So when you're thinking of subject lines, think small. 4 to 7 words is about the ideal length for successful subject lines. And just think about providing a quick glimpse of what that email is about. Now, I always find it easy to write the subject line once I've finished writing the email, because I've got my content in there, and then I can think about clever phrases, words, or elements of the email to help craft a subject line that I think will be compelling and will help people open that email. But you do whatever feels natural to you. Now the pre-header text. That displays just below the subject line in the inbox, and your readers will typically see 5 to 8 words in this little space. So use this as an extension of your subject line to go further to grab readers' attention. Think of it as your last chance to hook the reader and entice them to open your email. So those are the elements you need to add to your header information. Let's talk about the design elements of your reusable template. No matter what template you choose, you want to make it look like your brand. So first, you'll want to make sure that your logo is in the top left or center, or if you've got some other kind of image, that needs to be at the top. This is going to ensure that your brand is recognized right away, because it's the first thing that your subscribers will see within the body of the email. People are used to clicking on images while shopping online, so make sure that you turn your logo into a clickable link that takes them straight to your website. And I'll show you how to do that in our demo. You've also got to use your brand colors. So how many of you know the hex value of the colors for your brand? Let me know in the question box. Do you know the hex colors for your brand colors? Do you know what they are? I'll give you a second to answer. Yep, so yep, Galinda knows, Paul knows. That's great. So if you don't know what your brand colors are, you can use free color match tools like Color Drop, spelt the American way without the U, all one word, or Digital Color Meter. So again, spelt the American way without the U. And these identify the exact brand colors in your logo and your website. And together, the logo and brand colors help to establish consistency throughout your email that represents your business. So once you set up your template with the branding elements, you'll want to select a compelling image. Now, photos bring marketing communications to life and grab the reader's attention. I like to use photos. I used to like to use images. I know a lot of people are saying that they like to send emails without images, but I prefer to use images because I think it adds that little bit extra. Now, choose an image that supports your message. If you're having a sale on a particular product, include a clear image of the product or an image of someone using the product. If you're promoting an event, use a picture that captures the fun people had at the last event. In this example, Southside Cycling has included an image of the stock that they're promoting. Now, just like with your logo, you'll want to make that supporting image clickable. Make sure it links to the same place as your call to action. That's the thing that you want people to do. This image will be something that you will change for every email that you create, but when we make our master reusable template later, there's a placeholder. So let's talk about the next element, the headline. So because your main goal is to inspire action from your readers, more action, so they've opened the email, you want additional action, you want to give special attention to your headline. The headline must capture that person's attention, and it should be the largest text in your email. So I recommend 22-point font, so you can set that in your master template, and to use one of your brand's colors. Once you've piqued your readers' interest, the message body is where you provide detail to readers about the offer. This is where you will give them information and for them to take the next step. Now, I recommend you keep your text short and sweet. no longer than 20 lines of text, so you don't overwhelm your readers. Message body should be a minimum of 14-point text, but I use 16 just to make it easier. And I recommend you use a dark coloured text on a light coloured background to make it easy to read. And don't be tempted to use too many fonts because that can be distracting. So stick to no more than 1 or 2 fonts and make sure that your formatting is consistent throughout your email. Now, once you've added your text, you need to get people to take action. So let's talk about how to do that. So when it comes to designing your email, you should never send an email without asking people to do something. And we call this the call to action. And you can use a button to grab readers' attention and make it easy to click on. You can make your button pop with a colour that matches your brand, something that's complementary. And you'll need to use action-oriented words on your button to engage your audience. Think of things like order online, register by 1st of April, request a copy, download the guide. When people click on your button, you also need to make sure that they go exactly where you want them to do. So if you want to want them to buy something, make sure you link to the exact page where they can buy that product. You don't want to send them to the home page of your website where they have to look around and try and find that product because they're just going to give up and leave and forget about your message. So image, paragraph, and call to action, they all work together to get your audience to take action. Now let's talk about the last element of your email. That's the footer. So this is the stamp of useful information at the bottom of your email. And the best part of this is that you can set it up in your reusable master template and then forget about it. You'll only need to update it if something changes in your contact information. This is great for people that have a physical premises because your address is right there. People know how to find you. If you're completely online, you can miss out the address and you can add the other bits, but it's really useful to have things like your opening hours and how people can contact you. Be sure to include that contact information, so website, hours of operation, social media buttons, so people know how they can get in touch with you if they've got questions. So that's it, people. That is the 7 elements of the your email design. Now you're ready to create a reusable master template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this live within Constant Contact. And so just give me a minute to set that up. And let me share my other screen. Okay, hopefully, let's just make sure you can see that. Yep, you can. Okay, so this is my Constant Contact account, and what I'm going to do is create that master template and make it match my branding, and that includes my logos and colors. So here is the blank template that I've picked. As you can see, or you will see when it pops up, it looks like the Southside cycling template that we just looked at, but it doesn't look anything like it would come from, like it's coming from me. So what I'm going to do is edit this and make sure that it looks like my brand. So I'm going to go into this design tab, and the thing I'm going to do is change out some things. So I don't like to have a colored background, so I'm going to change that to white, and so that's great. The inner background is already white. I like my dividers to be the same color as my purple, so, and you can see as I'm doing that, that's changing things across here, and that's all I'm going to change there. And then I'm going to go into this fonts bit, and I want the heading to change. So one of my main fonts is Roboto, so I'm going to change that, and you can see that that's changed here. and I want that to be the same purple as my brand. So there you go, but that's the purple. And my body text, again, I'm going to change that to Roboto, and that's changed that there. It's 16. I would like it to be black so it's more visible. You can change body links. So whilst there is a button for you to add links, you can have body links, which means that you're turning text into links. And if I want to do that, all my text links and all my buttons are this green color. So I'm going to change that, and I'm going to put an underline on it. And that's about as much as I want to change there. And you can see it's starting to look a little bit like it's coming from me. The last thing I'm going to do is change that button text, and I'm going to make it a bit bigger, and I'm going to make it bold. The last thing is for me to make sure that my social icons are in there. I'm going to keep them that color, but what I'm going to do is add some networks. So I'm on LinkedIn. I don't know that my no, I don't have my LinkedIn link here. Let's bin that. Let's add Instagram because I'm on Instagram. So when I'm happy with that, I can click done, and that's saved in my master template, so I never have to change that again. Now, what I am going to do is change this. So I'm going to put my business name. I don't have a physical premises, so I'm not going to add an address, but you can if you've got an address that you want to add. I have a registered office, but I don't really want people to be contacting me there. It's just a registered office. Marketingbyminal.com. Oh, can't spell my own name. Right, and then my office hours, I'm going to make that bold, and then I'm going to put here Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I changed my office hours this month because we fostered a puppy just before Christmas, and he's taking up a lot of my time. So to give him a little bit more attention, I'm finishing at 4, and people can contact me on my mobile. And that's it. That's our information done there. What's missing here now is my logo here. I want a logo up here to make sure that people know who I am. And my newsletter, as I mentioned up at the front, is called the Marketing Morsel. And I like to have that big so that people can see that's what it is. And I want to link it. So I want to link it to a web page. Remember, I said that people like to click on images because we're used to clicking on images whilst we're shopping online. So it's a good idea to add a link to your logo. In my instance, I like people to go and visit my services page, and particularly my coaching page. So that's the information that I add in there. And now I'm done. That is my master template. The one thing that you will want to set up here is your from name. So this is your business name. And you'll want to pick the email address that you want your email to come from and the reply address. And remember, once you've set up these last 3 things here in your master template, you won't have to do that again. What you will need to do is change the subject line and the pre-header text as you create your emails. And that's it. That is our master template created. So now I'm ready, when I get there, I'm ready to start adding my content at the point where I'm ready to create my email. But what I am going to do now is switch back. Oh, let's click on this, switch back to the other screen. And just come back here. So let's just make sure that you can see that screen. Yes, you can. So that's how you create your master template. Now remember, once it's set up, you don't have to worry about a lot of that information again. Your brand is represented, your logo is there, you've linked it to your website, your header information is pretty much almost complete bar the subject line and the pre-header text. So everything is on there, and then you can go on and create your emails. But at this point, I want to talk about what you put into your email campaigns. So in particular, let's talk about how you can inspire your readers to take action. Now, remember, I said, that I really prefer to put in a supporting image that draws my readers' attention in. And quite a lot of the times my image has text on it which tells them exactly what that email is about. So even without reading the heading or the body of the email, it tells them in one image what that email is about. So that's why I like to use it, because it's very easy to get my readers to take action. Now, if you want to use photos, of course it's best if you use your own photos, but if you can't, you can always access free and paid stock photos within Constant Contact. Now, you don't just want to use any image you find on the internet, because you could find yourself in trouble regarding copyright laws. So please don't Google images and then use them. So make sure that you're using your own images, or from online stock photo sites such as Unsplash, but there are lots of other ones out there. And if you use Canva and you're paying to use Canva, there are literally millions of images that you can use in Canva for that are stock images. And incidentally, Canva integrates with Constant Contact, so you can bring your Canva designs into Constant Contact. Now, when you search for images, you want to avoid using photos that look too staged. You should use things that are maybe natural and realistic. For events, I tend to use images of myself. So anything that I want people to register for or sign up for, I tend to use images of me, because they seem to perform well. When people see an image of me, they kind of do that thing. So natural, realistic images tend to work better. And when you download a photo, make sure that the image is 600 to 800 pixels wide, so you get the best quality. Now, don't forget to ask questions as we go along. If anything's not clear, let me know, and I'll answer the questions as we get to the end. Okay, so you need to figure out what to write in the body of your email. This is one of the things that seems to trip people up, and it's essentially knowing what to say and how to say it. So let's look at a structure that will encourage people to take action, one that you can use and that will encourage people to take action. And I'm going to break it down into 3 questions that you'll want to think about for the type of business that you have. So let's look at this. What is it that you're offering? That's the first question. From a design perspective, that's your headline, and the goal is to stop the reader, pique their interest, and make them want to read more. And that leads us into the next part, which is your message body. For this, the question that you want to answer is, how is it going to help my reader? This is where you should provide details that entice people to take action. Typically, only 3 to 5 sentences, but make sure you provide just enough information to get the reader, to help them understand what it is that you're offering. And 3 to 5 sentences isn't hard to write, is it, really? I think people get themselves tied up into knots because they think that in their emails they have to write, reams and reams of information. I say reams, that really dates me. But 3 to 5 sentences is not a lot to put in an email. And then the third question is for the call to action. For this, you want to ask yourself, what should they do next? Tell them specifically what it is that you want to do, what they want them to do, and make sure that that call to action is easy to find and click on within your email. So you might ask them to make a purchase, or as in the case of this example, schedule a consultation, or even get more information. Now, this simple formula is going to help you write your emails text, and these 3 questions will work for any business type. So make sure that you remember to ask yourself these 3 questions when you write your email, and you know what you're offering is the headline, how it will help the reader is the message body, and what you want them to do next is that button. As you're designing your email campaign, it's important to keep it simple. In order to inspire your readers to take action, I think that you need to keep your email short and sweet. And I get feedback from people that receive my emails that they love them because I talk about one thing and they're really easy to read because they're really short. So when you copy your reusable master template, you really only need to add a picture, a paragraph, and your call to action, and that's it. And when you think about it that way, it makes it so much easier to think about doing your email marketing and doing it consistently. So what I'm going to do now is move back into my Constant Contact account and show you how we create an email with the content using that master template. So just give me a second to come back into my Constant Contact account and oh, it's giving me all sorts of messages. Right, let's show you that screen. Okay, so here we are back in the account, and the first thing that we want to do is to copy that template. So here's my template, and what I'm going to do is click on those 3 dots and copy that template. And it's going to work through and it's going to create that copy. And first of all, it's going to ask me to rename that template because it wants a different file name. So I'm going to rename it, and I typically will, this is the naming convention that I use for my emails. You can work out what you call your email file names. Right, so let's add the content. We've got our compelling headline. So, well, let's start from the beginning. We need to have an email. We need to have an image here. So we want that image that people will instantly know what the email's about. So here's my image. And if you received my webinar invitation, this will look familiar. So here's my image, and it talks about the webinar and it talks about what people have to do. And even here, I've got a call to action. So it's absolutely clear what I want people to do. I'm not sure why that's made that smaller. Remember, we talked about linking your images. So what I'm going to do is link that image to the webinar registration page. So if anyone clicks on that image within the email, they'll instantly be taken to that registration page. So that's that done. Now, compelling headline. Let's think about a compelling headline. Oh, there's still time to save your place. So people know that they're not too late and they've got to do something. So now we're ready to put in our body text. So what I'm going to do is I've actually got a file ready with copy and paste text that I can copy and paste. And I'm going to add that in here. And I'm just going to left align that. So there's my text. no more than 20 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines. So last line is talking about recording the webinar. So even if you can't make it, register to get the recording. So I've got my body text in there. I might want to, I forgot to do this in the master template, but I might want to have a greeting actually, so that people don't feel that I've gone straight into this email and not acknowledged who they are. So what I'm going to do is insert greeting tag, and you can see the personal greeting says hello, first name. Don't particularly like greetings. This default greeting is if you have people on your list who haven't submitted their first name and they've only submitted their email address. So if you've got the first name, that's what this will pull through, the personal greeting, and the default greeting will be displayed if you haven't got that person's contact information. So let's put that in there. That's great. The other thing that I'm going to do, which I should have done in that I like to do, and I should have done in the master template, so I need to go back and change it, is just put in a signature. So I've got my signature here, and you can see I'm just quickly clicking and, oh, I don't want to replace, clicking and dragging images across so that it makes it really simple to insert, and I'll just take that down a bit. So there you go. You can see that other elements of our master template have been brought across. So I've got my contact information here, my footer information. I've got my social accounts there as well. The only thing that remains is for me to change that button and put some text in there and add a link. So click on it, web page. I'm going to paste my link in here, and the text is going to be save your place now with an exclamation mark. So now it's obvious what I want people to do. So that's the body of our email finished, and that didn't take very long at all. And as you can see, looks like it's coming from me. If you get that in your inbox, it's definitely a Marketing by Minal email. The last thing we want to do is to add the header information. And as I mentioned, I always leave this till the end because writing the content gives me inspiration for the subject line and the pre-header text. But by the way, Constant Contact also can help you. It has recommendations built in. So I'm just going to click on this recommend subject line and see what happens. So they're checking. There you go. Learn the #1 marketing skill you can master. I love that. I'm going to use that as my subject line. Pre-header, let's have a look. Oh, it's not too late to save. There's still time to, because that's too long. It's not too late, but there's still time to save your place. So this is the #1 skill that you can master, and there's still time to save your place. So I'm going to pick those, and I'm going to insert the selected subject line and pre-header text. So if you always get stuck on this, once you've written your email, you can go in and use that little function there to help you to create that subject line and pre-header text. And then I'm going to hit save. And that's it. That's your email done. It's done and you're ready to send it. Now, you might want to send it straight away, or you might want to schedule it. But before you do either of those things, I really, really recommend that you send yourself a test. So in this little menu here, you can preview it. So you can preview what it looks like on a desktop, what it looks like on a mobile. And you can also send a test. So you can send a test to yourself. You can send a test to up to 5 email addresses. So if you've got a friend that you want it to read it over and make sure that you've got no typos in it, you can send it to that person too. And you can check for errors. So Constant Contact will go through and check for errors. So oh, it's got some notes, so it's got 8 words. Maybe I need to review that subject line and take it down to 8 words. And special characters, so try and limit the special characters. But it's got 2 special characters, it's the hash and the exclamation mark. So I might want to change that. Learn, I might want to just take that. Learn the marketing skill you can master. So I've changed that just to make sure that that's okay. And then I click continue. And it goes through to this page. As I said, you can send it there and then if you're ready to go, or you can send it, you can schedule it in advance. So I'm going to pick my newsletter list and I'm going to schedule it for Tuesday next week. I normally send mine at 11 o'clock. I need to change that. I don't get early results. And that's it. So you can see here, it tells you the subject line you pick, the pre-header text. You make sure that all of this is how you want it. You can even A/B test your subject line. So that's a really good thing. You can A/B test and you can say, these are the 2 subject lines, send it to 20%, send each subject line to 20% of my list. And then the remaining 60% should get the winner. And you can change that. So you can say wait 6 hours, right up to 48 hours. And then the winning subject line gets sent to the rest of your list. And that's it. So now I'm going to hit schedule and it will do that. It will whir its way through and it's scheduled for February the 1st at 11 o'clock in the morning. You get a summary page telling you that that's happened. So that's really great. And just, you can just make sure that that's all correct. And then you can connect your social accounts and you can share that. So you can schedule to share your newsletter on your social accounts, which is brilliant. You don't forget to do that. So that's it basically. So that's the creating the email part. And what I'm going to do is switch back to the presentation. Don't forget, if there's anything that hasn't been clear on what I've just taken you through, do ask me questions. So let's just come back to here. So hopefully you'll remember Peter's email from earlier. We talked about how much information it was in it and the fact that it was really difficult for him to create, so he wasn't consistent. Well, Constant Contact spent some time providing Peter with some tips, and he created this new email design using a master template. I mean, it's not perfect, but as you can see, the information is shorter, it's easier to read, it matches his brand, and it looks great on a mobile phone. And Peter sent 2 emails and made over $900 just because he made those changes. He followed that simple system and he's sending more emails and getting better results, and you can do this too. So let's just recap on what we've learned. We've just covered the 7 elements of email design. So create your master template using those 7 elements. And remember that when you create your email, you only have to change 5 of those elements. You don't have to keep creating a new email every time. You copy that master template and add the things that you want for that specific email. Oh, sorry. You want to keep that email system simple, so small amounts of text, and just try and keep one main image, because that really gives a lot of impact. And call to action, make sure you ask people to do something, and create that master template. That's going to save you time, and it's going to be consistent for your brand and the layout, and it's going to help people recognize you when you hit their inboxes. So as we begin to wrap up, I do want to share just a little bit about Constant Contact. It's built to simplify complex and confusing task of marketing an idea. So as a certified constant contact partner, I can help you to bring it to life. But it's not just about email marketing. There are, it has all the tools and tips you need to get your online marketing on track. So whether it's creating a great looking email campaign with welcome emails, list join tools, and email automation, or easily building an awesome website, so that has all the essentials, that's included as well. You can run Google, Facebook, or Instagram ads and get more traffic to your website. You can find new customers on social media or build your email marketing list. You can create logos. I've created a logo. I founded Hillingdon Hour locally, and we've sort of rebranded and we're creating a website, and I created a logo for Hillingdon Hour using Constant Contact. So, or you're building an online store, you can promote your products and track your stock across multiple digital storefronts. So it's got all the tools and features that you need to succeed, and you can work with me or work with on your own. Constant Contact has loads of help, and they have, most importantly, telephone support. You can speak to somebody on the end of the phone, and it's all in one place. And that's why I call it the small business marketing platform. So there we have it. That's how you can create and send your first email campaign in under 15 minutes. My weekly email now takes me about 10 minutes to put together, and you can achieve that. If you'd like to try it for yourself, the link on the screen gives you 60 days access to Constant Contact. You can create that master template, you can create your first email after having copied the template, and you can try and have a look at the other tools that I've just mentioned. So I'm going to leave this slide up while I look to see if you have any questions. So let's pull this out and see. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, I'm being a bit cack-handed with this. Oh, it's not right. Let's see. Can I expand this unlock from the pane? Ah, there it is. Right, now I can see. Tanga, slightly confused about what you meant by the winner. So when I talk about A/B testing, what you're doing is sending 2 different emails to a proportion of your list that have got different subject lines. So when I say 2 different emails, the content is the same, and you're testing 2 different subject lines to see which one works better. And by winner, I mean the subject line that gets the most opens. So when you do that A/B testing, your Constant Contact is sending 2 different subject lines, but the same content email to a proportion of your list. So in that example, it was 20% of the list. So 40% of your list gets sent an email, 20% with subject line A, 20% with subject line B. And then depending on how long you've given it to test which that opens, like which one works the best. So that's from 6 hours to 48 hours. After that time limit has finished, the rest of your list will receive an email with the winning subject line, so the subject line that got the most opens. I hope that explains that. So I've got other questions. We didn't talk about this, but how can I grow my email list? So we talked about this in the marketing mix yesterday. Growing your list is something that small businesses really want to do, and they focus on having a great big list. I'd say, to me, more important is quality over quantity. And the way you need to grow your list is work out why people should join your email list in the first place. So work out what's the value in people joining your email list. What are they going to get? Because we always ask ourselves, what's in it for me? Once you know the value that you're going to provide, turn that into a sentence. So tell people what you're going to provide and how often. So They understand what they're going to get and how often they're going to hear from you. Then get a piece of paper and write down all the places that you come into contact with your target audience. So that's online and in the real world. And that's all the places that you ask people to join your email list. And don't get too disheartened about the numbers. When I started my business, I had 0 people on my email list. So I started sending my newsletter to me and my husband. And that was it, to get me into the practice of doing it and doing it regularly and making sure that it just happened every week, because I decided I was going to do that, send a weekly email. And then as I started promoting my list and telling people what they would get and showing up in different places, my list started to grow. And I just don't sweat the numbers. What I'm interested in are how people are engaging on my list, and the people that don't for a very long time. And I did this over Christmas because I had time. I went through and I looked at anyone who hadn't engaged with any of my emails in 2021 and removed them. I removed them from my list. So I want engagement. I want to provide value, and I want people to feel that they're getting that. Are the principles you shared during this webinar the same for cold emailing? I don't really like cold emailing, and I don't talk about cold emailing, but I would say that yes, the principles would be the same. And you need to, when the person gets your email, you're going to have to work harder to get them to open it because they don't know you. And that's why permission-based email marketing is so much better, because these people have bought into you. When I talked to Matthew Montoya, who works for Constant Contact, I talked to him for the marketing mix 2 weeks ago, and that's still available. When we discussed about joining your list, he said a sentence that absolutely blew my mind. He said that when somebody joins your email list, that's their first yes to you. It's the first time they say yes to you because they're joining your email list. And then it's about you providing that value, that information, making them understand that you're not abusing their information, to get them to say the next yes and the next yes and the next yes, until the yes that comes along is them buying something from you. So I'm not a fan of cold emails because you have to work that much harder. And for cold emails, it really is a numbers game. You have to be doing it, sending out lots of emails. For me, it's better to build a list that's bought into you, bought into what you do, understands what you do, values what you do, and looks forward to getting that information. Then I've got what content should I include? So I've talked about the types of content briefly, but what I will say is we're all in business and we all need to sell things to stay in business. So if you're not selling things, then you don't have a business. So don't think that you can't sell in your emails. You can, but I typically tend to use the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the content is educational, informational, entertaining. I'm not very funny. I can't be funny on purpose. I'm funny by accident mostly. So those are the types of things that I try to do 80% of the time, and 20% of the time it's promoting. So when I sent out the email about this webinar, I was promoting myself. But generally, I send information. I send links to my blog posts, links to other types of information, and that's developing. From next month, that's going to develop even more. So make sure you follow that 80-20 rule, and you do want to be promoting your business because that's how you're going to make money, but not all the time, because none of us likes to be sold to all the time. Got time for one final question. Oh, Lizzie, thank you. She said that it's really helpful. I think my emails are too long. and she's excited about getting to work on this. Brilliant. I love to hear people talking about email marketing, and I do think things that I've been reading this year, there's always talk about what's going to be big this year in digital marketing, and I'm hearing much more noise about email marketing than I have done in the whole 6 years that I've worked for myself. So I've been banging that drum for 6 years, but I do feel that email marketing is going to make a resurgence this year, and it's so much better for your business because you own that data. When somebody joins your email list, you own that person's data. It's not like being on Facebook or on Instagram where Facebook owns that person's data. You're in rented land there. You don't own it, and Facebook could shut down your page, could shut down anything at any point, and that's you left without your audience. Whereas building a list gives you the opportunity to build that relationship with your target audience on your terms, and it's about you making sure that you build that relationship consistently so that they will go on to buy from you. Oh, thank you, Fiona. She said that it's so much easier to understand. I'm really glad. Just one more question. How do I make sure I don't annoy my subscribers? Just be transparent. Be transparent. Tell them how often they're going to hear from you. Tell them what they're going to hear from you about, and stick to that promise. Meet that expectation. I still, like to this day, I think last week when I looked at my unsubscribes from my newsletter, somebody told me that they get too many emails from me, and when I looked, they'd signed up themselves, and they'd signed up to a weekly email, and I'm just thinking, well, I can't help you there. I let you go, wish you success with your business, but you know that you're signing up to a weekly email, and that's what I'm going to do. And so just be transparent and be consistent and give people the thing that you've promised to give them. Lizzie says she loves the written word, so email marketing is right up her street. Sajid, you're welcome. Informative webinar. So I'm going to wrap up because it's nearly 11:30. As you leave this webinar, you will see a feedback form pop up, and there are only 3 questions. So I'd really appreciate a couple of minutes of your time just to tell me in a little bit more detail, if you want, what you thought of this webinar. I hope you enjoyed the session. You will get an email later today, latest tomorrow morning, with the recording, so do watch out for that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you on another webinar very soon.